Latest on Epstein.
Further down the rabbit hole we go.
Let's talk about it, y'all. Middle America. Well,
What now?
so there's some things that I don't report on because, like I say, you know, I don't want to get caught in the fake news stuff. But Yahoo is pseudo-mainstream, so this one, doesn't this look like somebody we know real quick? That's spooky, huh? Anyway.
No, I didn't even read. Obviously not, because it didn't come to my mind. I'm like, who does that look like?
Anyway, so what I'm about to show you, I was sitting on, and I didn't talk about it because, you know, it was borderline, and like I said, it's on Yahoo Finance. So, I mean, do what you want with it.
Okay.
But here we go. Jeffrey Epstein claimed someone tried to kill him before he died.
No.
Jeffrey Epstein, who was found dead in his prison cell on Saturday at 7 a.m. local time, had told guards that someone was trying to kill him, it has been revealed. The claims that Epstein believed that someone was trying to kill him came from an insider who had seen him on several occasions during his stay in the prison. A source told Mail Online, "From what I saw, he was finally starting to adjust to prison. I think he was comforted by the rigidity of his new life." A source told the Daily Beast that Epstein was being bullied at the prison. You don't say. You know, there's honor among thieves.
Yeah.
And sex offenders don't do well in prisons. That's been a notorious fact. So there you go.
Wow.
Later on, this person basically said he couldn't have killed himself. He seemed very, very happy the last couple times I ran into him. Now, that's a very common mistake that people who are around people who commit suicide make. That because the person was happy,
That means they're good.
there's no way that they could have killed themselves, when in point of fact, that's actually one of the warning signs that a person is pretty close to committing suicide, is that they go through a very, very depressed state, and then all of a sudden, randomly, they're happy. That's a terrible sign, because it basically means that the individual has come to closure about their decision.
Yikes.
So a lot of people end up very, very confused when a loved one or a close friend or whatever commits suicide. They say that can't be because, you know, so when he says, oh, he was finally adjusting to his, you know.
Yeah, well, I thought that was a little bit weird, that part. I was like, wait.
The rigidity of the prison.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that he didn't, and that's another reason why I didn't report on this. You know, this report was published 11 August. You know, it's now 15 August. But then there's this. Fox News medical contributor Dr. Mark Siegel said Thursday that it is more likely Jeffrey Epstein's death was a homicide rather than a suicide, following a full autopsy of Epstein's body that reportedly found broken bones in his neck. The hyoid bone in the neck being fractured and other fractures in the neck make it more likely, and again, this is a percentage call, more likely that it was a homicide than a suicide, Siegel said during an interview on America's Newsroom. So, the full report hasn't been given to the general populace, but his hyoid bone, I think I'm pronouncing that correctly, was broken, and that's more consistent with a person being strangled than with a person being committing suicide by hanging. Now, it doesn't eliminate suicide by hanging because those fractures could appear in that situation, but the point is, it's more likely, according to this particular doctor. And now this doctor is speculating, and it's Fox News, take it with a grain of salt, but the fact of the matter is,
I think it's not,
when you combine the fact that the medical examiner, the chief medical examiner, said, "I'm very confident that we're gonna rule this a suicide," and then later on it's inconclusive.
Once someone else is.
Then we heard there was nothing in the cell, and then a couple days later we heard they were shrieking and screaming in the cell, and now we're hearing that the fractures are more consistent with a homicide than a suicide. Look, ladies and gentlemen, if you still want to believe the the party line that the media, I just read an op-ed, forget all the conspiracy theories, he died by suicide, yada, yada, yada. If you still want to believe that, I completely understand why. I'm not even sure what I believe. I'm just saying that every day something else is coming out about this guy.
Yep.
And it's, where are you at right now with this?
I think he was killed.
I mean,
I think he was killed.
Well,
and for some reason, I can't get it out of my head that I think the Clintons had something to do with it. I just feel like that there's a lot of people that his testimony would have incriminated, and I think that there's a lot of people that didn't want that testimony to come out. So I don't know. I just think that, I don't know. I think there was a lot of people that were hoping something happened to him, and then it did, and all the stars lined up for this whole thing to take place. The part that keeps coming to me that I'm like, what about that? When they said that his lawyer was the one that took him off the suicide watch.
Right, his
that
lawyer.
To me is weird, because if you think that you're in danger for your life, I get it. The cell wouldn't be comfortable having nothing but there's no sheets, there's no this, there's no that. But you would think you would prefer that over coming out where somebody could kill you. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think that it's peculiar that he would have his lawyer get him moved out of that situation if he was feeling threatened. But maybe he wasn't feeling. I don't know. That to me is a little. But I think that somebody killed him.
I mean,
that's my leaning for sure.
I'm not going to go as far as saying the Clintons, because again, this guy had a lot of powerful people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Presumably, he was going to take down.
Right.
I don't know. I really don't know.
Doesn't look good. That's for sure.
The question has to become, who would be, if it was a homicide, who would be powerful enough to be able to pull off something like this? Because believe what you want, but that's a pretty complex operation to pull off. Now, knowing what's going on in that system, we reported on this a couple days ago with their augmentation and things like that, where you would take a
how long had that been?
I don't know how long, but the practice of augmentation that they were using was they were taking people who were not trained as correctional officers, nurses, teachers, etc., underpaid people who want to pick up some extra hours of being a correctional officer, and one of those people was guarding Epstein. So there are a lot of holes that a social engineer could have gone through.
Yep.
One person in the comment section said, "Oh yeah, all those people that were telling him to breathe were the ones that were killing him," and of course the people that were telling. Well,
that's what I was.
You were saying that as well,
yeah.
and the people that were originally assigned to guard him have since been reassigned. It's just weird. I'm not going to go as far as saying the Clintons, because the only reason I'm not saying the Clintons, although I do, Mr. Clinton took 26 trips over there, and there was other speculations about how involved he was, which we didn't report on because we couldn't verify it. But I mean, definitely he had something to hide. But at the same time, again, he had lots of people all around the planet. As Americans, we're looking at the Clintons, and it's easy to bring up the Clintons because we're Americans. But the Clintons are not the only powerful trillionaire family in the world.
That's true. That's a good point.
There are lots of people that could stand to be publicly embarrassed, or have a major political fallout / end up in prison themselves.
Yeah.
All over the world who could have done this. So and you're not a right winger, but it is and I'm not using the term right wing as a pejorative here, but it is a prevailing. If he was homicided or suicided, is what they call it. Immediately everybody's going to the Clintons, but there are lots of people who benefit from this guy dying. So, I don't.
Yeah, and I don't necessarily think that the Clintons have as much to lose as other people do if it came out.
Well, I mean, Hillary has nothing to lose, but Bill would have a lot to lose. I mean, he would be in prison for the rest of his natural life if he took part in that. So, he's got a lot to lose. I mean, when you're a millionaire close to being a billionaire...
They will. I always feel like those people get away with everything.
Yeah, but it's so front page and it's so egregious that's one of those you're not going to get away with. You're not going to... The court of public opinion is not going to exonerate you and let you walk free. There's no wiggle room around this. Like, this is one of the few things left where all of us pretty much have a consensus that this is axiomatic, that you sexually abuse underage kids. Like, they want to put you under the cell. So I feel like this is one of those things where they're like, no, we're not going to be able to overcome this one. Because that's how a lot of high and powerful people think, is like, oh, we can overcome this. Or, this will pass and, it'll blow over. There'll be another story. Nah. Especially with Clinton's, background with the whole Lewinsky situation.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm not saying I don't believe that the Clintons did anything. What I'm saying is to reduce it to just Clinton, like, okay, he was murdered, it was by the Clintons, to me is myopic. There are a lot of other people that stand to lose big time here. So
yeah,
it's tough stuff. It's tough, and I'm not defending the Clintons in any way, shape, or form. It's just I'll say this: at this point, I'm very well. I've been saying for the last 3 days, well, you just apply Occam's razor. Well, when I've got doctors who are saying it's more likely to be homicide than suicide, then Occam's razor applies. It's going to get to the point now where you have to kind of be. You have to kind of believe that all these things happened as a coincidence, and all these unfortunate coincidences congealed on one specific person in one specific period of time, and that violates the principle of Occam's razor. So, I don't know. At this point, it's looking pretty crazy.
Yeah.
We will continue to report as things as more is revealed, but the doctor says it can either be a suicide or a homicide. Still, I'm now more suspicious than ever that this could be a homicide. If someone attacked, you see the signs of the attack on the body. It hasn't been released yet, so I'm waiting to see that. So, at this point, it's funny, I haven't even gone to InfoWars yet or seen what Alex Jones has said. So, I don't know, maybe it's going to be the, gay alien frogs that came and murdered Epstein. I mean, I don't want to make light of it because, like I said, anytime somebody dies by suicide or homicide, it's a tragedy. I don't care who the person is. And it doesn't matter who the person is or what they have done. But good Lord. Well, there you are. That's the latest. Love your neighbor.
Take care of each other.
Middle America.
We are the media.
Till next time, guys. Isn't that crazy?